If you don't have that information, you haven't documented their ability to pay, you have broken the law. And I got
Not
news for
stated
you.
income.
I got news for you. That you've created a note that I don't want to touch. It's toxic.
Yeah.
Go put it in a nuclear waste landfill because I ain't touching it.
Mhm.
So if they go to court with this kind of paperwork and they're trying to foreclose, because most of these people don't think they'll ever have to foreclose because in the last 3-4 years, things are performing. Right? Yes, thank you, sorry. Debt to income and DTI. What could happen if they go in front of a judge with this paperwork that says the mortgage and note and their down payment and they're tracking it internally, not saying on monthly payments, not saying a yearly statements, and they go in front of a judge when this thing defaults? Because, hey, listen, the best borrowers in the world can die. They can get sick. Anything can happen. What would a judge do with that asset?
Well, there's a couple of things that could happen, and none of them are pretty. None of them are pretty. The best case scenario is that they're going to have to go back and actually do a real legitimate loan amortization calculation and really know what's owed, because they probably don't have that accurate number. So if you don't have an accurate number, then you don't have really good legal standing to even begin to foreclose. The worst case scenario is that you're going to run into a borrower who contacts legal aid, and then either the legal aid attorney or somebody else turns them over to some sort of consumer defense attorney. And boy, if you run into this in the state of Ohio, you're going to go meet a friend of mine, and he's a friend of mine. He is vicious on lenders that don't do it right. Okay. Former Attorney General Mark Dan, that man has a passion for going after unscrupulous lenders, and he's dang good at it. Okay. He is good at it. He's collected some large class actions and large multi-million-dollar settlements from some of these lenders. He's good at what he does. Okay. Fortunately, he's a friend of mine. So yeah. But that's what you're going to run into. And then they're going to basically show how you violated the law and your note is unenforceable, and you've got to give back all of the interest that you may have collected and earned, and you might be lucky just to keep the principal. And oh, by the way, you better do a loan modification, because don't you dare try and think you're going to foreclose on an illegal non-compliant note.
Yeah.
And so now what you've got is you've got a hostile borrower who knows they've got legal leverage over you for the rest of the term of that note, and you be screwed.
And I don't think it's limited to that one borrower. That attorney now sees the fact you have 8, 10, 12 other properties that you did the same thing. And those borrowers who are performing may get a little more information.
They might get phone calls, they might get letters, they might get personal visits, just to make sure that their legal rights are protected by that same lawyer that's already taken you to the woodshed once.
Yeah. So, and then for the little guys that are doing 2 a year, are they untouchable because I'm too small?
No, they're not untouchable, but they're a lot safer.
Okay.
If you're doing 3 or less, you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff.
Right.
Except being able to prove that you've documented the ability to pay.
Yeah. And that's a mathematical. I talk to a lot of people. Well, yeah, I saw that money in the bank. I saw their bank statements. It's good, right? There's an actual formula that's done to prove the ability to repay. You can look it up. There's a formula. Please, if you're watching YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever you're watching it, and this is why we brought Jeff on. If you don't do this, it can kill your business.
So not only do you need to do the formula, but you need to keep the information that you use to calculate on the formula. You need it. So flat out, I'm going to just tell you what you've described is the guy that does these deals at the diner table. They probably never collected a loan application.
Right.
They probably never verified employment. They probably never verified credit. They probably never verified anything. They have no idea how many other payments they've got. They have no idea what their debt to income ratio is. They have no idea what their overall debt service looks like. They've got no clue. And I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to be very straight. You are doing yourself, the borrower, and our industry a huge disservice when you do one of these deals with somebody who really can't afford to pay.
Mhm.
I consider you to be a form of a thief, a white collar criminal. That's that, yeah. And hey, I'm probably being a little harsh, and I don't care. It's my opinion. Sue me. I don't care.
I wouldn't sue him, be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for you to Jack. I'm actually Googling it myself. Do you know the actual number of DTI, the Billy Repay number? I thought it was around 47 or 43. What is, do you remember what that number is?
Off the top of my head, no. But I know
I'm
for
sure
my
someone in
sake,
our feed will, I see
Yeah.
Sri, I see, so
Yeah.
I'm sure someone figured it out for me. If you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
have posted, appreciate it.
you guys have collected some brilliant nerds. They probably have that number right on their fingertips, and they can send you links to all that stuff. And I got it. Great. That's
But
not
when
my
you
job.
suggested, we had a live call, we have for those who don't know, we have a private mastermind group where we talk on Wednesday, and Jeff was on a couple weeks ago. Thank you, Sal. 38 to 43. You suggested not to go to the top, right? Don't,
Yes.
if the number's 43, don't go to that 43 number, go below it to make it appear that something goes bad. Hey, listen, I didn't hold them to the highest level.
I gave them margin. I gave them room to breathe. How many of you are guys and you've had to wear a collared shirt buttoned so tightly to wear a necktie that it's hard to swallow or breathe and you feel like you're choking? That's what you're doing to a buyer homeowner when you max out their DTI.
Right.
Okay. And here's the thing. This is one of these things that gets me a little fired up because there's a little bit of truth to it, but then it gets contorted. And let me explain. When you offer seller financing on a quality property, did I say quality property? Yes, I did, and I meant it. Not some piece of junk that you wouldn't live in. Okay. But when you offer seller financing on a quality property, yes, it has a greater value to some extent, but don't get greedy and stretch it all the way out because it doesn't have that. Okay.
Or sell it
Don't
above
get greedy.
market value.
Pardon
I've seen
me?
that. Or sell it above market value just because you're offering terms.
Yeah, that's wrong.
I've seen that.
To me, that's
No.
wrong.
I
That's wrong.
agree.
Could you, if someone sold it, say it probably worth 200,000, they sold for 205 or 210, where is that line? Are you saying flat 200?
No, I'm saying if the marketplace says that it's worth 200, if I go get a traditional bank loan and all that other stuff, fine. I'd push it to maybe 205, 27, leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's worth a 3 to 5% bump, and that's about it.
Sure.
But it's
So we
not
have-
worth more than that.
So we have a lot of people doing this the incorrect way, and a lot of them don't know, right? Because they're being taught by people that we won't make comments about right now, doing, right? Teaching about just doing it and just getting involved. We hope that those people can collectively get together, but these people who have been creating land contracts, maybe not taught that they can actually have to get underwritten, which they do, right? Or creating notes or mortgages, right? So when they're creating these things and they've done it incorrectly, for those who are watching and listening, what should they do right now with those old notes? Because they may be getting scared right now.
So if they've done something that was sloppy or incorrect, there's the first thing you have to decide. The first thing you have to know is, did you do it because you did too many without using an RMLO, or did you do it because you just used bad paperwork and you're only doing 2 a year? Because if you only did 2 a year or 3 a year or less, then okay, that's a different, easier fix.
Mhm.
Okay. Go back and modify the deal, collect a new loan application, document their ability to pay, and modify the deal and do a modification and restart the clock, so to speak. Okay. That's the way to clean that up. If you did more than 3 a year, then you're going to have to go back and do that modification, but you're going to have to run every one of those borrowers through an RMLO to make sure that they have verified their ability to pay. And then go back and modify the paperwork, modify the terms, and restart it with standardized documentation. And I would tell you, if it was me and I was representing you, I would say give them a couple $1,000s off principal in exchange for them signing a release and waiver for any previous discrepancies or errors in the earlier version of the deal you did with them.